How's it going, everyone? In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a build specifically for Ultimate Lepic that will help you dominate each and every hard mode boss in the entire game. Also, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind anytime. Of course, there are many other builds that are prioritizing for this Lepic build, mainly for bosses, but I just wanted to give you guys my insight on these modules, external components, and reactors, etc., and how I became this powerful, high damage Descendant in the game. But the main abilities we're going to be using are 2 out of the 4 of them. The first one is Overclock. Whenever you gain Overclock, it would inflict burn on enemies, so it would be your grenade throw or either your overkill, and the burn will deal continuous damage for a certain period of time. So the duration we're going to be having is 33 seconds for the Overclock, and for the burn duration, instead of it going for 7 seconds, it's going to go all the way up to 11.6 seconds. The first one is Battle of Stamina. This one will grant us max HP for 122.3% plus, and we're also getting a skill duration for plus 8.8%. And the second one is skill duration, which will give us a plus 36.5% increased skill duration. So the first one is Battle Stamina, and the second one is Skill Extension. And for the main ability we're going to be using for this build is the fourth ability called Overkill. You will equip a unique weapon. While this unique weapon is equipped, MP will continuously be consumed. When MP runs out, this weapon is unequipped. Enemies hit by the unique weapon bullets take burst damage. The impact point of the unique weapon will create a damage zone, dealing continuous damage. So as what you're seeing here, the base burst damage for this ability is 2,760.3%, but we're going to increase it even further by 2,856.4%. And for the continuous damage, that's based on your skill power, it is times 43.8%, and we're going to increase that even further by 139.9%. But the downfall by having this much damage, or should I say skill power, is that the cooldown is going to be very, very higher, aka you're going to have to wait longer. So the default cooldown for Overkill is 80 seconds, but we have multiple modules that would increase our damage. But if you are playing solo for the intercepted bosses, all you would have to do is activate your Overclock ability, then afterwards activate your Overkill, spam as much of the Overkill shots to the boss. Once you run out of MP or the duration runs out, be sure to die, because it would 1, reset your abilities, and 2, give you full MP. Also, be sure to keep that in mind when you're doing that, is because to keep an eye on the tracker on the right side of your deaths. And also, same goes for the MP cost. It is going to cost more because we are using 4 external components that would give us more skill power damage. So for the regular MP cost, it is 40, but now is going to be 46. For the continuous MP cost, it is now going to be 34.5 instead of 30. So for the Transcendent module, it's going to override your passive skill, and it's called Firearm Master. Here's what it does. Whenever you reload this weapon, it would gain Load Mastery, or whenever you change your weapons, you would gain Change Mastery. So Change Mastery will increase your skill power modifier up to 39%, and the duration is now going to be 8.3 seconds. We're mostly going to be proccing Change Mastery to increase our skill power modifier even further. And for the other one, the Load Mastery, will just basically increase our skill range by 45%. That part doesn't matter. The Change Mastery does, because our main goal for this build is to increase our skill power modifier even further to give us that chunky damage towards bosses. And for the ultimate module, I am using long distance maneuvering, aka you have long range for your grapple. You're going to have 2 charges. I prefer using this one over the other grapples, but you can choose any other grapple you like. For the main modules, go for Front Lines, because this one will give you a skill critical hit damage plus 64.6%, and also your skill critical hit rate will give you a plus 27.7%. And to increase your skill power modifier even further, go for Maximize Power, because your skill power modifier will give you a plus 96.1%, but your skill cooldown will be a plus 50%. The next one, go for Skill Concentration. Your skill critical hit damage will give you a plus 115.4%, aka you're going to deal more skill critical hit damage. And the next one is Skill Insight. This one will give you increased skill crit hit rate by plus 115.4%. And the next one, it's also a skill critical hit rate and also damage, and this one's called Emergency Measures. So your skill critical hit rate will give you a plus 64.6%, and you're also going to be getting a skill critical hit damage by plus 27.7%. The next one is based on your skill power, and this one is Maximize Skill. So your skill power will give you a plus 87.6%, 50%, but your cooldown will be an extra plus 50%. I also forgot to mention that I am using another skill duration, and this one is MP Accelerant. This one will give you an extra plus 20.5 skill duration, and also this one will give you max MP plus 3.7%. And to increase your damage even further, be sure to go for this Dangerous Ambush Ultimate. This one is mainly towards team play, but this one can also be beneficial when playing by yourself. So for the first section is when landing a skill attack while the enemy is not targeting you, it would increase your skill power up to 24.9% even further. This one is for team play. So whenever the boss is focusing on another teammate, be sure to hide behind him to not get caught by him. And once you do that, use your abilities to cause even more damage to the boss. For the second section is primarily towards being by yourself or being with teammates. A skill attack against an immobilized enemy will grant you an extra plus 49.8% skill power. So your teammates could either knock him down or you can knock him down. Once he's knocked down, this one will give you an extra plus 49.8% skill power when he's knocked down. So in total, throughout my further testing, you will be able to do 15 shots for this build, but I do know that you can maximize your shots even further up to 17 shots. I did try that, but for me, the only way to do that is by doing it out of combat, because I do have this external auxiliary power component that says MP recovery out of combat. So usually when I try to solo a boss by myself, the first initial shot will proc MP recovery out of combat, and the rest would be MP recovery in combat. So I tried farming for one of those on the sensors, but I got unlucky. But instead I got max MP that would give me more shots to the boss, that would help me get 15 shots, but not 16 or 17 shots. But you can be able to get 17 shots, but RNG is not blessing me. So currently I can only be able to shoot 15 shots. So the weapon for the build I am using is the Perforater. You don't have to use it, but I am using the Perforater because of the optimization condition for my reactor. And the only two modules you need for the Perforater or any impact rounds weapon is Sharp Precision Shot that will decrease your fire rate by 20%, but as long as you're holding the trigger, it would give you a plus 4% and also minus 5 recoil, and also a firearm attack plus 6% every 0.4 seconds up to the maximum of 10 stacks. So once this is at 10 stacks, you're going to be shooting your overkill ability extremely fast. And the next module you need to go for is Fire Up, because it will increase your fire rate up to 25%. So the fire rate also ties to how fast you can shoot your ability for overkill. So for the reactors, you can go two separate directions. And as what you're seeing here, I am going for a damage and crit damage build at the cost of shooting an extra ball if you don't have skill duration up. So for me, I have skill crit damage and skill crit hit rate. Both of those are yellow. I got extremely lucky. And also go for tech and fire for your skill power boost. But if you are one of those people that would like to shoot an extra shot for your overkill, you could also go for a yellow version of skill duration up, because if you have a purple or a blue version of a skill duration up, you won't have the ability to shoot an extra shot. So go for a yellow version of the skill duration up. As what you see here, I do have one, but I would rather prefer going for damage over an extra shot. That's just me. And also for the extra part for the reactor, as what you see here, I have skill effect range. Instead of having that, you can go for skill cost. So for the external components I do recommend farming for is on the Pyromaniac boss, and he will drop these auxiliary power components called the Slayer components. So here's what it does. If you have two sets of these, it would increase your general ammo capacity by 8%, but your main goal is to be getting 4 sets of these, because it would increase your rounds per magazine by 9%. And the main two parts you're going to need is skill power, which will increase it by plus 26.1%, aka you'll deal more damage with your overkill. And lastly, it will also increase your skill cost by 15%. The last section doesn't matter because I don't think we are using Toad, but I'm just going to read it. When defeating enemies afflicted with Toad, hopefully I pronounced that right, but it is what it is, it recovers MP and specialized resources by 12.2% at a 17% chance. We're never going to use that because we're mainly focusing on bosses, so it's kind of schmeat. And for the modifiers that I'm running for the components is max HP just for survivability and MP recovery out of combat. This one will just give me an extra shot if you are playing solo. This will not apply if you're playing with other people. So for the sensor, your main goal is to go for max MP, especially the yellow version of it, which will give you 154 just to give you more shots for your overkill. And I do have another variation for this, so let me see if I can find it. It is right here. They're not yellow, but here's what you need to look for: max MP and MP recovery in combat. combat, because whenever you're in combat, it would give you MP. So be sure to go for the yellow versions of these two, because if you don't, you're not going to be producing that much. And on the memory, go for MP recovery modifier to increase your recovery gains for MP whenever you're out of combat or in combat if you do have those other two modifiers. And also go for defense to increase your survivability even longer. And the processor, it doesn't really matter what you're using, but just go for like, I don't know, shield recovery modifier or any resistance. But the main ones you're going to have to worry about are the auxiliary power, the sensor, and the memory. So this is currently my go-to build for defeating bosses when using Ultimate Lepic. If you'd like to see any other builds in the near future, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you have any questions or concerns about the build, again, let me know in the comments. I'll greatly appreciate it and would like to see what you guys think about the build. If you are not subscribed to the channel and you did enjoy this video or found it informative, and feel free to hit that subscribe button if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to subscribe, I'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Take care and peace.